Hello, the Pioneer viewers. We continue to bring you the details of the Russia-Ukraine war. We bring you the critical moments of the war and the developments behind the front line in the fastest way possible. War periods contain difficult processes for every state. It is necessary to obtain the resources to fight and to have the power to sustain the war. The states whose capacity and facilities are not sufficient to sustain the war may have difficulties in meeting their needs. The psychological conditions of military units is a very important criterion in the war processes. As the war drags on, the fatigue of the soldiers causes the war to continue with the greater losses. As the soldiers' motivation and beliefs in victory weakens, losses increases. Without an argument to keep the troops together and motivate them, the war will bring nothing but suffering. The wear and tear of the soldiers and the increase in the casualties in the troops allows us to make predictions about the outcome of the war. Armies with good psychological and physical conditions can survive the war. There have been many developments following Russia's invasion attempt against Ukraine. While describing these developments, we also made predictions from the future. The Russian army could not manage the war, which is called a special military operation as it is wanted. It is slowed down against the Ukrainian army's fierce defense. While the Ukrainian army started to counterattack, its hands were completely tied. There seems to be no motivation among the soldiers in the Russian army to continue the occupation. The Kremlin, which forces Russian soldiers to fight, sometimes by force and sometimes for money, is struggling to give the troops a purpose. As a result, the Russian army is unable to show serious success in the war. Increasing Russian casualties and accidents caused by the mistakes in recent days show the current states of the Russian army. The figures released by Kiev recently revealed the huge losses of the Russian army in the new year. In addition, new weapons of the Ukrainian army have been activated on the front line. Now, if you are ready, let's examine the latest developments together. As the Pioneer, we continue to report on the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as you don't miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. I also read all your comments on our videos. Please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments with us. Tell us in the comments what content you would like to see on the Pioneer channel. In the past days, statements were made by the Ukrainian army about the state of the war. These statements revealed the situation of the Russian army. The war, which has been going on for about 2 years, has recently included very violent clashes. The Ukrainian army announced that it destroyed 9 Russian battalions in the clashes after the new year. According to the statement made by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, Russia has lost about 4,500 soldiers in the new year. A battalion in the Russian army consists of 500 soldiers. The Ukrainian army says the number of Russian soldiers destroyed is equivalent to 9 battalions. The situation of the Russian army, which had suffered such a huge loss in a short period of time, does not look good. The Russian army is also finding it very difficult to replace the huge losses it had suffered. Daniel Rice, former special advisor to the General Valery Zaluzhny, the commander-in-chief of Ukraine, said that Ukraine is trying to make life unbelievable for the Russian troops by ensuring that Ukraine is not a safe place for the Russian troops. He said that this is the way to get Russian troops on Ukrainian territory to leave the occupation. Ukraine's use of cluster munitions and targeting the Russian ships with the long-range Western weapons contributed to the higher number of the Russian casualties, he said. Russian casualties in the recent periods show a large increase compared to the previous year. This increase has been driven both by the Ukrainian army proving its strength and the further weakening of the Russian army. The increase in the daily averages, as reported by the Ukrainian officials, almost certainly reflects the deteriorating of Russia's forces, the UK government said in a statement. It said that if Russia's casualty count remains the same through the 2024, Moscow will sustain more than 500,000 casualties in a war by 2025. The UK government said that increase in Russian casualties in the final month of the 2023 was largely due to the Moscow's offensive on the Donetsk town of Avdiivka. The town, which has spent nearly a decade on the front lines between Kiev and Russian-backed forces and Moscow troops, has become the site of one of the bloodiest battles since the Moscow launched its assault on the town in October 2023. The strengthening of the Ukrainian army also marked the beginning of a very difficult period for the Russian army. Thanks to the military aid packages provided by Germany, and the Ukrainian army has also experienced a major improvement in its air defense capabilities. The aid deal announced by the German federal government the other day includes the delivery of the Lincoln Skynex, a German-made anti-aircraft system designed for the short-range defense. Germany first announced a $200 million contract, while the Skynex manufacturer Rheinmetall in December 2022, with the promise that the first of the two defense systems including in the contract would arrive in Ukraine in early 2024. The announcement of the deal and support packages follows the request of the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky for Western partners to supply additional defense systems and weapons as Russia steps up airstrikes in Ukraine. Germany's updated package includes 2 air surveillance TRML-4D radars, 30 drone detection systems, 2 demining tanks, and additional artillery and ammunition. According to its manufacturer, Skynex is equipped to defend against large tactical drones, air-to-surface missiles, mortars, and artillery rockets. The system consists of 3D targets acquisitions, radar capable of identifying air threats within the range of the 50 kilometers. The system is also equipped to operate up to 4 35mm Mk3 pistol guns capable of firing 1,000 rounds per minute, according to the Rheinmetall. Guy McCardle, managing editor of the Special Operations Forces Report, SOFREP, said Skynex could also work in conjunction with other defense systems. Such a system can integrate with the existing Skyground and Sky Shield units produced by the Rheinmetall, as well as U.S.-supplied Patriot systems designed to hit long-range targets, according to the manufacturer's website. Ukraine already has numerous air defense systems thanks to the Western allies, including the Patriot. The commander of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Sergei Nayev, warned last week that the Ukrainian military was running low on ammunition for its probable air defense systems air Russia's bombardment in the previous days. The fact that Skynex is much more affordable than Patriot systems is also a very important detail. The U.S.-made air defense machines cost around $1.1 billion each, while Germany has signed a contract for 2 Skynex for only $200 million. The increased capabilities of the Ukrainian army and improvements to its fighting power raised hopes for the faster end to the Russian occupation. How do you think the losses of the Russian army can be assessed? How do you assess the successes of the Ukrainian army's counterattacks? How do you think the Ukrainian army's new weapons can contribute to its gains in the war? How might the course of the war change in the coming days? We value your opinion. Please share it with us.